Chat, I want for all of you to leave just knowing how incredibly satisfied and pleased Joe is with everyone's performance tonight. 87. Thank you. Chat, I want for all of you to leave just knowing how incredibly satisfied and pleased Joe is with everyone's performance tonight. 87. Thank you. Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking, I am so clear. Guys, you see how many people we had? You see how short that ticket time is? It makes me happy.
About this case, they're so hard to put together. Veteran police officers who arrived at the scene said it was one of the most horrific and gruesome scenes that they had ever seen. Yet somehow there were two roommates who were in the house who apparently didn't hear anything. What are the red flags you have there, and are those roommates considered persons of interest?
Well, anybody who might have knowledge is considered persons of interest at this point. As far as suspects, I don't believe so. The investigators continue to work hard trying to interview everyone who might have any information and hopefully figure out and identify what occurred and why and who's responsible.
I believe the evidence could have been easily collected because there wasn't any snow. Dry leaves and dirt. I wonder if they found a footprint. So the 3 unidentified male DNAs were found inside and outside the house. Whatever happened to them? Could that be the reason that Brian wants this case to be opened up properly? He doesn't want any secrets. And let's not forget, BK has never asked for a plea deal. He's always claimed he'll be exonerated, that he's not guilty. Could they have mistaken the white Hyundai Elantra for another car? Does BK know people around these areas?
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked, so the other 2 roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt?
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there.
Explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there.
So the surviving roommates was not injured? They were there in the residence at the time of the attacks? And the chief said, I never said that they were witnesses. I said they were just there. So my question is, when did DM and BF become witnesses? Was it after the timeline was changed? Was it after the white Hyundai Elantra was put out there? Something changed within 7.5 weeks. When they arrested Brian Christopher Koberger. Did they actually get the white Undai, the answer they were looking for, was it the correct one? And what were the surviving roommates doing at home without calling law enforcement? Didn't they need the toilet? Weren't they scared for their lives? Were they comfortable to be in the house after DM saw a man with bushy eyebrows, 5'10", the height? She decided to lock her front door, lock her room door and just sleep. Didn't she need the toilet? Were they actually texting each other? And why is Chief Fry saying that they are not surviving roommates? He's saying that the surviving roommates are not witnesses. Apologize. He said they were just there. What were they doing there? Were they part of the plan? Allegedly, did they open their doors for the suspects? Allegedly. Could they have been threatened? Allegedly.
Sorry, I'm Emma Epperly with this book's interview. Hi. So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then they didn't call it into police, so were they injured? Sorry, I'm Emma Epperly with this book's interview. Hi. So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're
The chief did not answer the question properly. The Fox reporter asked him if the roommates were home when the 911 call was made. And he said there were many people there, and I'm not going to answer this question now. What about the two roommates? Was one there or was both of them there? Because it makes sense with the tripod behind the house that recorded a woman running hysterical from the sliding door towards the front door, and there was a black truck parked outside the front door of 1122 Kings Road. So was both BF and DM present when the 911 call was made? Or maybe BF slept somewhere else.
There were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then they didn't call it into police, so were they injured?
They were not injured, but like I said, we're still following up with everybody that could have been in that area.
And how can you say it's a targeted attack if you don't have a suspect?
Like I said, we take the totality of the situation. We try to make the best bit of information we can with everything that comes in, and then we make our decision off of that. So,
I want to clarify.
That is an excellent question from Fox News. How could you say it was a targeted attack, Chief Fry, if you don't have a suspect in mind? Usually when a murders are targeted, the police already have a rough figure, like it's the ex-husband or the wife or the children or the parents or the neighbors or the friends or someone they've been having beef with lately or their business partner. Like they have a rough idea if it's a targeted attack. Yet they called it all a targeted attack. They said the students were the target, then they said the resident was the targeted attack, then they said it was a crime of passion. But still, there was no suspect, still, 7.5 weeks later, until they arrested Coburger. Kind of strange.
November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Wogan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Stephen and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning.
I've been doing it for 16 years, and I just got reelected for another 4.
So what is it that, or I guess, when did you get the call on Sunday?
I got the call just a few minutes after noon that there were 4 homicides, but I didn't go to the scene because of law enforcement doing their investigation first, so I didn't actually go to the scene until about 5 or 5:30.
Can you walk us through, like, for our viewers, kind of the process between when police show up and then you guys getting the bodies and doing their examinations?
Sure. Well, law enforcement goes through and looks for any evidence, takes videos and pictures of everything in there, and they'll start talking with people. So I don't really need to be there for that. They can't move the bodies. I mean, the bodies have to stay as they were until the coroner gets there. So that's what my job is, to look at the bodies.
As a coroner, do you guys do the autopsies and all that?
No, we some do if they're an actual medical examiner, but we have forensic pathologists and we contract with Spokane to do that.
So in your experience, what is it that you saw when you showed up?
Well, there was a lot of blood. It was a very sad scene with 4 murdered college students.
You're ruling all 4 deaths on sites?
Yes.
And can you give us a manner of death?
I believe that the press release was that they were from a sharp object. So
stabbings.
Yeah, I will know more after the autopsies tomorrow.
And do you believe this could be a murder-suicide or?
No, there are 4 homicides.
And when it comes to doing the investigation post-autopsy, that falls on you, correct?
Yes. It's my job to determine the manner and mechanism of death.
And then I know with toxicology results, there can often be, at least in Washington, a delay. So do you have any idea how long it could take, if those were relevant, to get any type of results back on that?
Well, the toxicology reports, right, they usually take 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes longer. But they usually take 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes longer. But they might, I don't think they're going to be relevant.
Results back on that?
Well, the toxicology reports, right, they usually take 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes longer. But they might, I don't think they're going to be relevant in the actual manner or cause of death. Why wouldn't the toxicological reports be important for the manner of death? This doesn't make sense. A toxicological report is taken no matter what, but yet they did not find it relevant. But she's not a medical doctor, so I wonder if the medical doctors took it. They could have got a roofie in the drinks. Nadi wasn't walking normally, honestly.
Number 9 looked like he was putting something in Maddie's mouth, in my opinion, while he was giving the ticket to the counter. So why wouldn't the toxicological reports be important? Was this investigation and forensic done properly? Another thing that I've always asked myself, how come they didn't find DNA, or they still haven't told us, from the 4 victims' nails? They bagged their hands. Let's not forget that. Although the 4 victims, may they rest in peace, were cremated, there was still evidence left behind. The hands were bagged. Xana and Kaylee fought for their life. How come we're not getting results for that? Could this all be things that BK is talking about, that he wants no more secrets? Chief Fry, the coroner, all of them look like they know something they're not telling us. That's the reason they put a gag order in this case. I've always said from the beginning, they know it's the students who are behind it. But this is starting to look like a cover-up to me, in my opinion. And I'm entitled to my opinion. She even said the timeline was between 3 to 4 a.m. So why did they change it?
The information they've been given shows no connection between Brian Kohberger and the victims. As a defense attorney, your thoughts on their claim?
Well, they're going to have to back them up at trial. If they're claiming there's no connection, there have been cell tower pings which are not conclusive in themselves. Then, yeah, his touch DNA was found on the knife sheath. That can be addressed too by the fact that touch DNA can be transferred by more than just the perpetrator touching the item in question. For example, if I shake hands with you and then go kill somebody, your DNA will be on the murder weapon. But you also have alleged messages on Instagram and some of the months leading up to this incident from Brian Kohberger to one of the victims. Now, obviously, that's stuff that if the prosecution's alleging the stuff, they're going to have to back that up. So, yeah, there's a pretty interesting mix of evidence and arguments here.
And I want to be clear about this whole thing about the Instagram messages. That was reported by one news outlet, and we haven't been able to verify that. We don't even know if that's true. That was one news outlet that reported that information, citing an anonymous source. There's been a lot of anonymous source information in this case, so we have to be really careful about that. But what I find interesting about it is that, yeah, what I find interesting about it is they're saying there's no connection. Then we move on to the DNA part.